Okay guys, review time. This is the Altra Olympus 4 shoe. Looks like this. This is in the black colorway. This is a brand new one, haven't worn this one yet. I bought a couple of pairs of them in different colors. So this is what it looks like before it meets Wellington's mud. This is one. This is the black and white colorway that has unfortunately seen the mud. I'm not very good at cleaning my shoes. To give you an idea about the tread as well while I'm at it, new one. Ooh, let's see if I get that in the shot. And then this is 165k in, so it's actually wearing surprisingly well. There's a little bit on the there's a little bit of wear on the end there, the Vibram sole there. And obviously the center section, this section is really worn, but that, you know, I was expecting that because I'm upgrading from the 3.5 that I've had multiple pairs, about 4 pairs of, I think, of the previous model, and this is my 5th pair of Olympus in a row now onto the 4. So here's my old ones as well. These have got like 600k on them, 700k on them, something like that. And you can see on the old ones there, the foam went immediately. So to compare the 3.5 against the new one, you can see they've got a little bit more grip in the center, but you know, that grip disappears almost immediately realistically. So I wouldn't hold out too much hope there. I have noticed a bit more grip on the end where there's a bit more nodules. And another thing that changed is they've got like a little lip on the back there, which compared to this one, which I expected to hate, and I actually quite like. It's grown on me. I thought I would be catching this lip on like every set of steps I run down, basically. I had visions of like catching on steps and then just face planting, but that hasn't happened. I guess because they brought the profile in here, it's actually similar to the old profile, just missing a piece. So it's actually fine, and it hasn't worn out either. I mean, 160k ins, but you know, it hasn't even begun to worn out. I do run pretty much on the middle, so I'm not, you know, I'm not a hill striker too much, hopefully. So yeah, at the moment they're wearing fine. Okay, so starting from the vital statistics, I guess. These are 332 grams per shoe. The previous model, the 3.5, yeah, the 3.5 is 351 grams a shoe. So they're a little bit less, about 5-6% less. You do notice it when you're wearing them, particularly for long periods, but mostly it's because the way they're constructed is a little bit thinner, I would say. They're less bulky. You're still wearing a maximal shoe, they're still full stack height and everything else, but it's not like wearing a sofa, you know, whereas this old shoe is super comfy, and I'll tell you right now, this is my favourite shoe I've ever owned, until I owned this one. But these are great shoes. I've had tons of these, multiple pairs, but they are like putting on a cloud or tying a sofa onto your foot. You know, they are super cushiony. All around the heel pocket is cushiony, underneath, on top, the tongue, everything, which is awesome until they get wet. Then they are really heavy. They take a while to dry out. And you know, if you're one of those people who are into like minimal shoes or anything like that, this is not the shoe for you. But if you're doing a long distance ultra, you're out all day, you just want to kind of keep moving, you don't want your knees to hurt from rocks and stuff, these are great shoes. And because of that, I bought so many pairs of these, it's ridiculous. Moving on, new one. In fact, I'll use the less muddy one. Yeah, so these are a very similar shoe. You can see it's got the same design. I prefer the changes they've made though. There's better ventilation in this area. There's better ventilation down the side. It's a thinner construction, but it's like denser. It's better quality. It's made out of better materials, I would say. And there's reinforcing in all the places where you would expect to need it. So up to now they're wearing fine in terms of I haven't had any rips, haven't had any tears, haven't had anything wear out, and they've been pretty abused. You know, I've been through rivers with them. I've had just mud up to my ankles. It's yeah. I haven't tried them with the gaiters yet. I don't have any Altra gaiters. I might get some soon and see how that works. But up to now they've been fine. One other change is these. Well, the older shoes if I show you the laces, they're just pretty much a classic lace, very thin lace, just a normal piece of string basically. They wear quite well. I've had no wear problems on those, on anything. Whereas the new ones, I'll chuck those away. The new ones have this like texture. It's like woven in, and it's almost like ribbed. It's almost like bobbles. So when you tie a knot in it, as that knot cinches down, those little nodules, they lock in on each other, and it's actually awesome. I really like that. It's a really nice change. It's such a simple thing, but when you tie a knot with these, they hold really well. I do generally double knot them anyway, but yeah, I've never had a knot slip out on them, and they seem to hold a lot better. You get a real grip with the knot, so they don't loosen over time. Speaking of tightening and fit, one thing I did notice with the new ones is the first time out I wore them, I took them on about a 20k run. I did get a hot spot on the middle of my foot, which was a little bit worrying because I've always bought the same size Ultras. I buy them blind, I buy them online, and yeah, I was a little bit worried. It turns out it was just kind of more of a me issue. Because these are a little bit thinner in the upper, you have to like make sure you've really got them like cinched on properly. You don't get that like slop in the foam that you get on a new shoe where you can just kind of like squish it down and let it bed out and it will kind of fit around your foot. These won't do that so much because they're a little bit thinner. You will have to get the fit kind of right first time, or you are going to start seeing some sliding around, a little bit of problems there. Once I got it cinched down, I basically kicked my heel back into the pocket. I put a lace lock on, so I used the extra hole and did the lace lock technique to pull that to shoot down onto my foot. I haven't had any problems since then. It's been fine. But I think that is probably exacerbated as well because one of the major changes in the fit is if you look at the tongue of the old shoe, it's just your classic, yeah, it's like a big, thick, squishy tongue. This new one has a much thinner, it's just a thin tongue, and it also has this little cutaway in it where your tendon goes through for your ankle. I expected to not like this at all. I thought this was going to slip around left and right. It doesn't. I actually quite like it now. It does move a little bit to sides, but it doesn't slip all the way down the side of the shoe or anything like that, so it's fine. And because the tongue, this is going to be quite hard to show on camera, but because the tongue is thick to here, and then this top section is just really wafer thin, it's just a piece of thin material, it doesn't dig into your ankle or anything like that, even when you're like bending your dorsiflexing your ankle forwards. It doesn't dig in. It's really comfy, but you do have to get that nicely fitted onto your foot for that to happen. At a slightly higher level, these are Ultras, which means they're zero drops, and they come with all the kind of implications of a zero drop. They are going to give you a little bit less support in the heel. It's usually not an issue as long as you're used to running in zeros. I'll be running the Tarawera 100k in them hopefully, so you can do long distances in them. You just got to be used to it. You've got to have your calves strengthened up and used to that kind of shoe, because when you put these on, they will feel weird if you've never worn a zero drop before. It's like having a high heel with the heel cut off kind of thing. You just feel like you're falling backwards, but you get used to it pretty quickly, and it doesn't take long. And being an Ultra, they do have a super wide fit, particularly in the toe box area. For me, that is the number one thing I look for in a shoe. I didn't think I had particularly wide shoes, but apparently when it comes to running shoes, that seems to be the case, because Innovates, the Sportivas, all those kind of brands are just, I find them so narrow that I get rubbing and all kinds of pain and stuff. So I go for Ultras and Topos and things like that. These have that. They have the wide toe box. They're super comfy feeling, and I personally just can't go back to anything else now. I just really struggle to go back to anything that's not got a super wide toe box on it. Just as a little bit of an overview here, old one, new one. You can see some of the design changes they've made here. I think it's a much cleaner looking kind of design. Not that it really matters, but it does seem to look like it's going to shed the mud a little bit better. Yeah, overall, in terms of colour, I don't really judge colour. I mean, you go for what you want. These are obviously the full black ones. These are the black and white, I think they're called, black and white colourway. There is a flame red one as well that looks really nice, but I couldn't find it in stock, so I guess everybody else thought it looked nice as well. And I think there might be one other colour choice, but yeah, I mean, they're running shoes, colours are colours, whatever. And in terms of price, they're Ultras, so a little bit on the cheaper end compared to some, but they also historically have not worn as long as other shoes, but I've noticed my last few pairs of Ultras have worn a lot better than they used to, so I think that might be an issue they've fixed or in the process of fixing. I'm actually getting pretty good wear out of my Ultras now, and they are slightly cheaper than other pairs. Having said that, I am in New Zealand, so I don't factor in pricing too much because you're paying New Zealand tax and shipping and everything else. Yeah, overall, they are a great shoe. I really like these shoes. I have bought 2 pairs. I will almost certainly be buying another 2 pairs if I can find them. And we'll see where we go from there. Hopefully, Ultra will bring out a decent road shoe to give my Topos a run for their money. But for now, the Olympus is my trail shoe of choice. They're awesome. And cheers guys, thanks, and I'll see you again.